Welcome to Built by Days, where we stack small wins into unstoppable results. I'm your host, Mason Carter, and today I want to share 5 invisible laws of success that could change your life forever. These aren't shortcuts, they're not hacks, they're principles, subtle, powerful, and always working. Like gravity, they don't care if you believe in them, they just pull. The real question is, are they pulling you forward or holding you back? These laws are always running in your business, your health, your relationships, your mindset. And once you learn to see them, you won't unsee them. You'll notice them in how you speak, how you think, how you spend your mornings, and how you show up when no one's watching. So let's begin with law number 1, the law of the mirror. The law says this: life reflects not what you want, but who you are. That means your outer world mirrors your inner world. If you want more confidence, success, love, peace, you don't wait for life to deliver it. You become it, and the mirror reflects you back. Think of an actual mirror. You don't frown and wait for it to smile. You smile first, and the reflection appears. Most people are staring at life's mirror, waiting for it to change. But nothing happens until you do. I once worked with a guy who changed jobs every 6 months. Talented, driven, but always frustrated. Toxic team, he'd say. Poor management, bad leadership. Every job, the same complaints. Eventually, someone asked him, "What's the one thing all your jobs have in common?" Silence. That was his mirror moment. He realized he was showing up as the same version of himself, expecting the world to upgrade his results. But he hadn't upgraded himself. The law of the mirror doesn't judge, it just reflects. It says if you want better, become better. Life reflects who you're being, not just what you're hoping for. Try this. Tonight, look in the mirror and ask, did I show up today as the person I say I want to become? If the answer is no, don't beat yourself up. Just decide. Tomorrow is a fresh canvas. Here's the most powerful part. If the reflection isn't what you want, you can change it. You don't need anyone's permission, just your decision. That's the law of the mirror. And once you understand it, the world doesn't have to change first. You do. Coming up next is the law that quietly builds your future, whether you like it or not. The law of averages. Let's move into law number 2, the law of averages. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." But the law goes even deeper than that, because it's not just about people. It's about habits, thoughts, energy, repetition. The law of averages says this: what you repeat becomes who you are. That means your results are rarely built by what you do once, they're built by what you do most. It's not what you do occasionally that shapes your life, it's what you do consistently. Think about your routines. What do you do every morning, no matter what? What do you eat, say, think, listen to, on average? Because that's your real life. Not your goals, not your vision board, not your motivational highs. Your average day is your actual life. Let me give you an example. I had a client, let's call him Steve. Every Monday, he'd set 10 new goals, and every Tuesday, he'd abandon them. Why? Because his average day was chaos. No rhythm, no routine, no anchor. He lived in a loop of urgency, but never progress. So I asked him a simple question. What's one thing you already do daily? He said, check email. I said, perfect. Now, before email, add 5 minutes of planning. Just 5 minutes. That was his new baseline. Within 3 weeks, everything started changing. Not because of a massive overhaul, but because of one shift in his daily average. Small hinges swing big doors. You want to change your life? Don't wait for the breakthrough. Change your baseline. Adjust your average. Raise the floor. That's the secret high performers live by. They don't focus on how high they can spike, they focus on how high they can stay when life gets messy. Because life always gets messy. Here's something practical. Pick 3 things that you'll do every day, no matter what. I call it your daily 3. It could be water before coffee, a 15-minute walk, reading 1 page. They don't need to be impressive, they just need to be consistent. Why? Because consistency beats intensity. 1 push-up a day is better than a 2-hour workout once a month. That's the law of averages. What you repeat becomes what you expect of yourself. It becomes who you are. So let me ask you, what's your average? Not what you want, not what you post online, but what you actually live on a regular, normal, unfiltered day. If it's not aligned with your future, that's your work. Don't change your dream, change your daily. Because what you repeat, you reinforce. And what you reinforce becomes your reality. That's the law of averages. And next is a law I wish more people understood. It's not about goals. It's not even about action. It's about time, trust, and the invisible power of patience. The law of the garden. Let's talk about law number 3, the law of the garden. This law says, you reap what you sow, and you reap it later than you sow. And most people forget the second part. They plant a seed on Monday, and if nothing has grown by Thursday, they give up. But gardens don't work that way. Growth doesn't care about your deadline. It works on rhythm, not rush. Every meaningful result, health, wealth, wisdom, love, grows through seasons. There's a time to plant, a time to water, a time to wait, and eventually a time to harvest. Most people quit during the waiting. They think nothing's happening, when in reality, everything is happening beneath the surface. I've recorded podcast episodes that sat quiet for months and then exploded. I've written content that got ignored until one person shared it and everything changed. The garden is always working, just not always visible. So how do you use this law? You stop forcing outcomes and start committing to inputs. You show up, you water the soil, you protect your routine from weeds, from distractions, drama, and comparison, and you trust that the fruit will show if the root is strong. Here's a practical way to apply this. Pick one area of your life: business, health, mindset, relationships. Now write down, what's the seed? That's your daily action. What's the soil? That's your environment, your schedule, your space. What's the sun? That's your support system, the people who help you grow. Once those 3 are aligned, the only thing left is time. Let the seasons do their job. Don't dig up the seed just because it hasn't bloomed yet. You're closer than you think. That's the law of the garden. And next up, one of the most underestimated laws in all of personal growth, the law of the echo. Here we go. Law number 4, the law of the echo. What you send out comes back. Not always immediately, and not always from where you expect. But the energy you give the world, the tone, the thoughts, the generosity, the intention, it returns. Always. This law is subtle but powerful. When you help someone without keeping score, that goodwill comes back. When you lead with value instead of ego, that trust comes back. And when you consistently show up in a way that uplifts others, that energy eventually finds you again. Sometimes in a conversation, sometimes in an opportunity, sometimes in a moment when you need it most. This law is why your attitude matters more than your algorithm. It's why how you treat the janitor and the CEO should be the same. Because you're not just echoing out into people, you're echoing into your future. Your tone today sets the temperature of your tomorrow. So here's the check-in. What kind of energy are you putting out? What kind of thoughts are you amplifying? Are you sowing encouragement, focus, discipline, or sarcasm, comparison, and doubt? Because the echo always returns. Maybe not in the same voice, maybe not from the same direction, but it will show up in your results, your network, your self-worth. Echo out what you want more of. That's the law of the echo. And finally, law number 5, the law of direction. Let's bring it home with law number 5, the law of direction. This law says, you don't need speed, you need clarity. Most people are in motion, but not in direction. They're busy, but not building. They're scrolling, switching, trying, reacting, but not deciding. Movement doesn't equal progress. Forward means knowing where you're going. Speed with vision is wasted energy. I've met people going 100 miles per hour in the wrong direction. And I've met people taking small, steady steps with clarity, and they're winning. The law of direction asks one question. Are your daily actions aligned with your deepest outcomes? If not, pause. Clarity before motion. Before you wake up and grind, get clear on where you're trying to go. Define success, your way. Not what's trending, not what they're doing, but what you're here to build. Then reverse engineer it. Ask, if that's my vision, what's one small step I can take today to move in that direction? And then take it. Direction turns effort into traction. Speed turns chaos into burnout. You don't need to go faster. You need to go wiser. That's the law of direction. So let's recap the 5 invisible laws of success. 1. the law of the mirror. Your life reflects who you are. 2. The law of averages. What you repeat becomes your reality. 3. The law of the garden. You reap later than you sow. 4. The law of the echo. What you send out comes back. 5. The law of direction. Clarity beats speed. These laws are always in motion, and now that you can see them, you can use them. Every day is a chance to build with intention. And remember, success isn't built in a day. It's built by days. Thank you for listening to Built by Days. I'm Mason Carter. And if this episode helped you, share it with someone you care about. Until next time, keep planting, keep building, keep becoming.